Students are back in the classroom, but they are on devices more than ever. How can we help them protect their mental health when navigating the digital world? This is Common Sense Explains. Research shows that media and technology can intensify challenges for youth. Our own survey revealed that around 1 in 3 girls who use TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat say they feel bad about their body at least weekly when using these platforms. However, devices are also central to young people's social lives, and simply telling them to avoid screens isn't realistic. Instead, we can support healthier tech habits and digital well-being. The U.S. Surgeon General and the American Psychological Association recently advocated for digital and media literacy education in schools. Digital well-being education goes much deeper, teaching students how to become more aware of their online behavior and maintain a healthy relationship with technology. I am joined by Dr. Emily Weinstein, a Harvard-based researcher, psychologist, and co-founder of the Center for Digital Thriving. Emily is also a longtime collaborator of Common Sense Media, and her team works closely with ours to develop research-based resources. Emily, our teams have partnered to co-develop a collection of digital well-being lessons that teachers can use inside the classroom. Why the focus on digital well-being right now?
There's a lot of talk about the adolescent mental health crisis, and for good reason. Many of us who have teens in our own lives know firsthand that mental health challenges are real and they're prevalent. We have nationally representative data telling us that over 40% of adolescents experience persistent sadness or hopelessness over the prior year. There are absolutely positive experiences for kids that are super meaningful in the ways that they use technology. But there are also pain points and complexities and ways that apps honestly play and prey on kids' developmental sensitivities. We created these new lessons because we know that adults, like educators and parents, have the power to do things that will really make a difference as we collectively try to correct course around adolescent mental health so that kids really can thrive in a tech-filled era.
This concept of kids developing a skill set to protect themselves online is so interesting. Can you give us an example of a topic that's covered in one of the lessons that are going to help kids develop that skill set?
Of course. So all of the lessons are seeded by our research with young people and by really intentional listening to young people's pain points around tech, to what worries them, what's hard for them, what they wish they had skills to manage. And one lesson I'm really excited about focuses on thinking traps. And I'll tell you more about it in a minute. But first, have you ever had an experience where you've sent an email or a text and then the person doesn't respond right away and you start worrying that they're mad at you or that maybe you said the wrong thing?
Oh, God. Probably on a daily basis. More than I'd like to admit, probably. Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so we hear about this kind of thinking a lot from teens. It comes up in the context of stories about how anxiety-provoking it can be when you're left on read, meaning you know someone has seen and read your message, but they haven't replied yet. Teens also talk about this relatable experience of looking through their social media feeds and thinking like, ugh, all my friends have better lives than me, or everyone else goes on cooler vacations, or everyone is so much happier than me. So these are really interesting examples of thinking traps, which are also sometimes called cognitive distortions. And there is a ton of research on them and on how we can actually learn to identify and challenge traps in our own thinking. This is a key part of cognitive behavioral therapy. And we have this brand new lesson on thinking traps specific to tech and social media that takes this evidence-based practice and makes it super accessible. So teachers don't need a background or a training in cognitive behavioral therapy. They don't even need to know what a thinking trap is. The lesson has explainers and materials for all of it that really lean into teaching teens about some of the thinking traps that come up and how they can learn to spot them and start to challenge them.
So you've mentioned that a lot of research went into these lessons. I'm curious to know then, how exactly were they developed? And aside from the thinking trap lessons, what other issues are they addressing?
Yeah, so all of the lessons are research-based in a few key ways. So first, they focus on topics that we know from research are extremely relevant to youth digital well-being. And second, we've spent a lot of time sourcing evidence-based practices that are relevant to those very challenges. We have a tech habits lesson focused on leveraging insights from habit science to think about changing up tech habits that aren't serving us. We have another focused on learning about design tricks and the attention economy, another that has a value sort where teens actually reflect on their own values and then think about how those values are impacted by the ways that we all use tech. These lessons and activities themselves were also co-created with meaningful design input and feedback from educators, from learning designers, from clinical psychologists, and of course, from teens themselves.
Teachers are under so much pressure right now. Schools are facing a ton of demands now more than ever. Why do you think it's important to teach these skills inside of the classroom and not just, put the pressure on the teachers to teach it, but what role should parents be playing as well?
We have such a big role to play. I know from so many parents and educators that we really want to support kids around the intersections of these issues, tech and well-being and mental health. And these new lessons are not going to fix all that's hard about tech or solve really complex mental health issues. But I'm so excited about them because they absolutely are going to help us have different and very needed conversations about digital well-being with our students and with our kids. And I believe they'll help us get unstuck and moving in really productive evidence-based directions right now.
We are linking all of our digital well-being resources in our episode description. Thank you so much, Emily, for joining us, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. A reminder that your support helps us continue to develop resources that support healthy digital habits. You will find a link to donate in the episode description. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Until next time.